I need you, Lord, in my life today. Only you can make a way. Comfort me, Lord. Let me feel your presence right now. Comfort me. I need you, Lord, in my life today. Only you can make a way. Comfort me, Lord. Let me feel your presence right now. Comfort me. I need you, Lord, in my life today. Only you can make a way. I don't even know the song like this, y'all, but I'm gonna sing it today. Comfort me, Lord. Let me feel your presence right now. Comfort me. What's another song? That I've been thinking of this week. Let me see. I forgot the words already. Sometimes discouraged, but not defeated. Cast down, but not destroyed. There are times when I don't understand, but I must believe that it's turning around for me. 'Cause it won't always be like this. The Lord will perfect that concerning me. And sooner or later, it'll turn in my favor. It's turning around for me. Around for me. Around for me. It's turning around for me. 'Cause it won't always be like this. The Lord will perfect that concerning me. And sooner or later, it'll turn in my favor. Lord, it's turning around for me. Around for me. Around for me. It's turning around for me. Ooh, I'm singing some high songs this morning. I ain't get my vocals together. Good morning, sis. A little while longer. I'm late. I should have been on here like what, 10 o'clock. And I'm like so late. I'm glad you can join me too. Thank you. Gotta put my eyes on so I can actually see and not be squinting. You're the landlord, let the leak in your building, yeah, Lord. You're the landlord, and there's a leak in your building. Oh Lord, you're the landlord. There's a leak in your building. I need you to fix it. Oh, fix it like you said you would. Good morning, beautiful people. It's your girl Bev live here in Durham, North Carolina. Ooh, my glasses are a little bit too much. In Durham, North Carolina, it is Saturday, August the 13th. Y'all, we already almost halfway through August. Like that's crazy. Time is flying and it's waiting for no one. Um, this is the Fly with Bev show, basically incorporating the Fly with Bev mentality, the butterfly mentality on the Fly with Bev show, where we try to think above our circumstances and fly in our minds above the way that we're dealing with things, handling things, the way that things look. We want to do better than what we see things to be and what we feel things to be, because feelings are temporary, and even what you see is temporary. Even the seasons are temporary. So things are bound to change at any moment. I don't know about anybody else, but um I have these fall vibes internally. Like, I don't even think y'all really hearing me. Like, I'm so like beyond the summer. Like, I'm not even here anymore. Summer is gone in my mind. It's still hot outside, don't get me wrong. But I'm looking forward to a new season, a new change. But while I'm finishing out the summer, I'm noticing that things in my life are changing for the better. And I do thank God for that. Just some things that I personally have been dealing with myself, which we all deal with things. So it's not like somebody's dealing with something outside of somebody else. But one of the things that I can truly say is that I hate being vulnerable sometimes with people that I'm really close to, because I feel like I should know the answers to what I'm going through, which is crazy. And I feel like I should be able to depend on no one, at all, but just go to God, and just me, and I'm not worried about anything else. But to have to voice how I feel about something, and to understand that there is a solution out there that I have yet to come across, it really does bother me. But it's only because I haven't been patient to wait for the solution. So I'm grateful just to see myself calming, relaxing more, just trying to think more positive. Even though I talk about the butterfly mentality, that doesn't mean that I'm always flying. Sometimes I feel like I'm in the valley. So and that's just life. It's never going to be a whole year where nothing goes wrong. And if that be the case, then tell me how you avoided it, because, it's always going to be something that we're dealing with. But sometimes we just have to really, truly allow what's taking place to be embraced by us, and allow it to make us better and make us look at things differently. So I'm very grateful for that. Um, so I really wanted to talk about fear today. Um, because even though I know I've already done a segment on fear, I do feel like fear is something that should still be talked about constantly, because fear is something that really does keep people from going forward. It has kept me, and it is keeping me in certain areas of my life from pushing forward through things that I know I can push forward through. But that fear, and there are different types of fear, different levels of fear. You know, you can fear that maybe, let's say, somebody could be a driver and they could fear that somebody's going to cause an accident for them, right? So they are so afraid of that they never get their license and they never learn to drive. So that fear kind of overtakes them learning how to drive and putting themselves out there. Everything in life to me is always going to be a risk. You're always going to be taking risk in some area of your life. You never know that what the decision that you're making is going to be detrimental to you. You never know whether or not what you're getting ready to do is going to be beneficial to you. You never know what's going to happen. So it's always going to be a risk in something, whether start a new job, or should I say, you putting your 2 weeks notice at one job because you have a new job. You don't know if the job you just said yes to is going to be better than the job you just left. You're hoping for that to be different. Even if the pay is better, you still want the atmosphere and everything else to go along with it to be just as good, right? So what is fear? Fear is really something that hinders you from, or fear is believing that something is going to be bad, because you're not afraid of the good that could happen. You're afraid of the bad things that could happen, right? So we're thinking about things, or something that gives us anxiety, or something that it's not even anxiety for everybody. It's just a nervousness. It's just uh to me, it's like you're paralyzed from moving forward in that area. It's like a elderly person who has fallen before, So they're afraid to walk because they know that the last time that they walked, they took a tumble. So that's what fear does. Fear will come on one or two ways. It'll come because of something you've never experienced and you don't know what you're getting ready to experience. So you're nervous about a decision you have to make or something you have to do or whatever the case may be. Or it comes after you failed or after you've messed up or after you have, made a shamble of something or let's say you got burned with the iron or something like that as a kid. So that fear is imparted in you now because you don't want to get burned again. Or let's say somebody betrayed you. So now you're afraid to trust people. There's always going to be something in life that could cause fear. And so sometimes you have to put yourself back out there. And that's not just fear on the job, fear in church, fear could be coming from any place. Let's say, um, okay, when people get sick, when people have cancer, everybody automatically fears it. And the reason why is because they know that so many people have died from it. So there's fear attached to the word cancer. There's fear attached to certain diseases, certain things, a heart attack. There's fear attached to that because many people don't live to come out of it. And then a lot of people do. It just depends. So fear happens before you can enter into something. You're worried about the outcome. Like fear can happen in business, right? Fear, let's say you want to start your own business, but you're afraid because you don't know if you're going to be successful. You don't know if people are going to like your products. You don't know if people are going to see you as someone that's even worthy of having a business. It could be all sorts of type of thoughts that come through your mind. So you may not start something because you're afraid of what people are really going to think or if whether or not you're going to succeed. So you choose not to start something because of something that it hasn't even happened yet or may not even happen. It's something that you think could happen, but it's not something that will happen necessarily. Like even me, when I first started my walking, I was so excited, but I was nervous as I don't know what. But I started putting it out there, and people did buy from me. They definitely did. Now I haven't marketed any shoes because I'm working on something else that will intertwine that. But I know that there was this fear. And then when business got slow, of course, there was that fear of, man, I may not ever be successful. But I do know that there's more work for me to do in order to overcome that with consistency. So sometimes we fear change. We fear when things change. We fear that whatever's happening to me is going to be bad, or whatever's happening to me, I'm going to lose this, I'm going to lose that, I'm going to lose that person. So fear can come in many different ways. It's something that we don't even know is even going to take place, like, and then it's something that has already taken place and we're afraid of it happening again. So for me, for instance, and I'm just going to speak on myself. I, you know, I'm used to people like, how can I say it? Taking something that I say and putting it out there in a way that it hasn't been. I'm used to people doing that. I'm used to people that I've been really, really close with betraying me, or I'm used to that. I'm used to that. So it's not but me failing at something. I failed at something that I'm not going to discuss, but I failed at something that I never thought I would fail at. And it really, really made me afraid to trust myself. It really made me afraid to trust myself with other people, in conversation and I'm just like, yo, like, Bev, like, what's going on? So it made me not want people to get close to me or me get close to other people. And I know y'all probably like, what in the world she talking about? But it's probably something that y'all would be like, what? But to me, if we fail in something that we just didn't think we would fail in, or we do something that we're ashamed of, that fear of repeating that could definitely be something that keeps us from going forward and keeps us from being the best person that we could be. I was depressed for a long time. And in the medical field, I started losing my mojo. I started, you know, not really wanting to go to work. I started feeling like I wasn't the best employee. You know, I started crying over little things that really did not have to be cried over in my eyes. Somebody else may say that that's okay. But I really began to hate the medical field, not because of the people, but because I felt like I could no longer do the job because I lacked in me and I was afraid in me of everything that I was dealing with and going through. So it made me afraid to, how can I say, push through hard times. It made me afraid to trust myself that when I'm going through, I still can be a good worker. I'm still this person. And I was working, doing my job, doing everything I needed to do. But in my mind and in my heart, I felt very suppressed and oppressed. And my emotions weren't always there for other people. I didn't feel insensitive to other people because I really wanted someone to be there for me. So I began to become afraid to work out amongst people. I chose a job that I didn't have to interact with people as much. So this job that I have now, I'm working from home a lot. I'm working from home a lot and I'm just afraid that when I was afraid, I was afraid that when if I tried to choose another job that I would have to deal with people one on one, face to face, that I wouldn't be so patient. I wouldn't be so kind. I wouldn't be so loving and I would really have a bad attitude or whatever the case may be. So I said, you know what? How do you hide? So before I talk about this job, when all this was happening and I was going through so much and dealing with certain stuff, this was like 2016, 2017, 2018. I chose to be a teacher, right? I chose to be a teacher because I wanted to be alone when I worked. I never wanted to have to work with another individual. But what I didn't realize was that teaching was going to make me um, be there for other people emotionally, mentally, physically. Like I had to be there for students in ways that I just never thought that I was like, I didn't have it in me at the time to be the best supporter because I needed support. So I said, now here it is. I'm thinking teaching adults would not have me feeling like I got to be somebody's friend, mama, sister, brother, not brother, forgive me, Lord. But what I mean by that is being someone's just the whole shebang for them mama, sister, cousin, niece, friend. I had to be everything for people that had lives of adult life. Like you have kids, you know, I mean, you got more than one child. And I don't have any kids, but yeah, you're more of a kid than I am. And I don't have any kids, and you're probably a spoiled brat, and that you only being this way because you're not around your children. So I'm saying to myself, like, what in the world? I didn't sign up to be anybody's mom. So that was the wrong, and that was me just trying to get myself back together. And I became hard to manage. Like my manager told me, and this is just something I'm putting out there about myself. I became hard to manage because I was so closed off. Because I was so afraid that I would get burned again. I was so afraid that and what I was afraid of was happening again because my manager I got in I had a situation come up with a teacher and she lied on me. She made it seem like I was coming after her, and I'm telling y'all no lie. I know me. I know when I can say stuff in the wrong manner, and I will go back and apologize to anybody that I've said something wrong to. Even if I felt like I said something wrong and it may not even be true, I still go back and apologize. But the teacher made it seem like it was one way when it wasn't. And I had a witness there that said, Bev, like, nah, Miss Harris, that wasn't even accurate. So that that burned, and then the fact that my manager believed what she said and tried to make it seem like, "Oh, Miss Harris, I've been around you long enough. I know you could kind of be a little feisty." Okay, I can be feisty, but that does not mean that I was rude and disrespectful to her. Like if you're a strong black woman, they're already gonna label you, that you have a bad attitude if you check somebody. So that was the thing, I began to be afraid to put myself back out there again. I began to be afraid to work around people. So I left that job and I moved. I moved all the way up to Philadelphia and I tried to reestablish myself and just start over fresh. And, I came to a job that was persecuting me about my religious beliefs, about being in holiness. They tried to get at me for my skirts and my head covering without putting it out there. And, I let them know straight up, I'm not having that. I'm not one of those people that's gonna be quiet and let you run over me because we're not gonna have that. I will own this urgent care by the time I'm done. So I still had strength in me in that area. But as far as being around people, I began to see myself internally closing off, internally not really wanting to be around people for long periods of time. So what I'm saying is that fear has been controlling me for a long time, and that fear is still present. But God be my help, I have made up in my mind that I'm going to do my best to push out of that fear. Because the job that I have now, I work from home, and it's starting to get to me. It's really starting to get to me to the point where I feel like I've lost motivation. I don't have the same spunk, the same spark. But when I go into the clinics to run an errand or go to the doctor or whatever, I feel so alive being around those people and being, out there in the world again. And I'm like, Bev, you need to stop. You need to stop forcing yourself to stay in a place where you don't want to be. You got to start pushing yourself out of that fear. So anytime those thoughts come to my mind, anytime that anxiety grips my heart, that things are going to be the same, things are never going to change, I'm going to always feel like this, I have to fight it with positive thoughts. I have to tell myself it's not going to always be like this. It's not going to always be like this. You're going to be able to trust yourself around people again. You're going to be able to have conversations with people and feel that genuineness going back and forth. Um, it's just really a thing of learning to trust that where you're headed doesn't have to be the worst place ever for you. And I'm doing my best to fight those thoughts of it's not going to be anything different, because I do understand how fear puts you in a mental prison, an emotional prison. And it can put you in a physical prison, because not necessarily behind bars, but behind the doors of your life. Like, you stay shut up at home. You stay by yourself. You stay to yourself because you're afraid to be around other people, or you don't want to be around other people because of things that has transpired, because of the things that you have done, because of the things that people have done to you. And I am going to do my best to push myself to go beyond those things and to understand that whatever's going to happen is going to happen. And whatever's going to happen is going to be for my good. Sometimes we take things and we make it for our bad because we allow it to turn out to be for our bad. We suffer with how we felt about what we did and how we think other people felt about what we did. Or we suffer with, what people did to us, and we suffer with how it's going to look if you embrace somebody that you've forgiven, that people know did you dirty, but yet you embrace them again and you're around them again. You may worry about what people are going to think about you as a person, but that's keeping you from living your freedom, from living your freedom in your mind and in your heart, that you don't have anything against that person. I'm not telling you to run back into the lives and the space of people that have done you wrong to the point where there's no return as far as giving them that access. But I mean, just communicating with someone that may have done something that is forgivable and that you feel is forgivable and that they can receive access to you again was so harmful in embracing that person again. Um, but taking a chance on that business, who cares if somebody else has done the same thing and it failed? Who cares if you're worried about failure? Fear of failure will keep you back. And that's really what fear really will hold you just in everything, like in every single thing. Let me see. Yes, pressing past. Wow. You're saying so much, sis. Thank you for your vulnerability and encouragement. Really delicate dialogue that certainly will help others navigate their situations. Seriously, like, I'm glad. I wanted to help people. Even if they're watching the playback right now, I'm fine with that too, because fear has really been something that I have battled with for years. As a little girl, I used to wake up having anxiety attacks, but it was never about the things that I'm dealing with now. Back in the day, it was about going to hell. I didn't want to go to hell. I wake up out of my sleep, start reading the Bible, and I was like 10 or 11 or 12. Talking about I don't want to go to hell. I'm scared, Lord. But on top of that, it's like, as an adult, we allow fear to press us to the point where we cannot go forward, and it's crippling us and it's keeping us from doing the most amazing things. There are so many good things on the other side of that fear, but you have to believe in yourself. You have to believe that what's to come can be definitely better than what has been. And if you don't believe that, if you believe things are going to always be the same, if you believe you're going to fall into the same trap, then you're keeping yourself in that circle. But until you break that circle in your mind and in your heart and make up in your mind that you have got to get out of this, you have got to get out of this prison in your mind that's keeping you from going forward, you will never be able to break that fear. Every time those thoughts come to your mind, remind yourself it's going to be okay. Every time those thoughts come to your mind, you say, no, I'm going to do this because it's going to help me in some way or some form. It's going to make me stronger. And even if you do fail, there's always a possibility that failure will still come. There's always a possibility that what has happened will happen again. But guess what? When it happens, you still have the opportunity to know what you can do to overcome it. So it's not like you're stuck. If you fail, one or two things are going to happen. You have the chance to evaluate what you did and start again, or you have the chance to evaluate what you did and do something different. It is not the end of the world because you fail. It is not the end of the world because you have repeated the same thing that has transpired in somebody else's life or your life that has made you feel this same grief, this same pain over and over again. It just shows that you have yet to learn the lesson, which means that you have to keep reaching, you have to keep taking that test until you pass it. Hey, Wanda. She says, I hate failing, but it has truly been pivotal in my growth for sure. And it will stunt your growth. It has stunt mine too. It has been stunting my growth and my freedom, not just growth, but your freedom. And what I mean by freedom is freedom in your mind and freedom in your heart to be fully and completely you, to exercise those levels of yourself that you have never been able to see because you have been afraid to fail. You have been afraid to make mistakes. Everybody is going to fail at something. It doesn't matter if you fail in front of people. It doesn't matter if you fail behind closed doors. Somebody could talk about, okay, let's say somebody's humiliated in front of people. Let's say somebody's humiliated or embarrassed by something in front of a lot of people. It took a lot for that person to show their face again. Not everybody could do that. It takes strength to fail because when you get up, if that failure is between you and whatever you failed in, then that's fine. But if you fail in front of other people, then you have to build your strength up so that you can be able to face those people again. You never know what they're thinking, but that's not your place. Your place is never to think about what other people are thinking of you. You only have to think about what you think of yourself. And I'm telling you, you got to learn how to fail. I think that was Denzel Washington. It might have been him that said, fail big. Fail big. There's a lot of lessons to be learned in failure. There's a lot of self reflection to be learned in failure. Like when you fail, you can reflect on yourself and say, what did I do and how can I make it better next time? Or what can I do differently next time? So it's not a thing of, and it's funny because you will fail in front of people, but you got to ask yourself, okay, well, all right, well, they saw that. That's just like me. I tripped in, I fell in one of the convocations. This was like 2012. We were in the forum in Harrisburg, that big old place that had like Zeus and all them on the ceiling. And I was coming up the steps. Now I was coming down the steps. That's what it was, I think. And I fell and I hit my knees. And I don't even know how I got down there. And I just bust out laughing. And one of the security guards was standing there. I wonder if she remembered. But one of the sisters, and she and I are cool to this day. She was standing there. And I looked at her and I just started busting out laughing. Like, what just happened? Like, how did I just fall in front of everybody? Like, what just happened? And I got right back up and I kept walking. And I was just busting out laughing. I don't even know if my sisters remember that. But I laughed at myself and I went and sat down and just kept it moving. And I told myself, I said, Beb, that was good, girl. Like you laughed at yourself. You could have been ashamed. You could have been embarrassed. You could have been like, oh my gosh, blah, blah. Nope. I fell to my knees. Don't even know how I fell. Got back up, kept walking. And that's what you got to do. You got to laugh at yourself. You got to learn how to laugh at yourself and say, man, like that was terrible, wasn't it? Yeah, it was pretty embarrassing, wasn't it? Yeah, it was. It was pretty embarrassing, but guess what? You're going to live. You gonna live. You ain't gonna die because you failed in front of people. You're not gonna die because you're humiliated. You're not gonna die because you're embarrassed. Let me see. A fear I had to overcome and still working at was creating a new way of thinking. Life experiences have created a hardness in me also that have stunted my growth spiritually and naturally. And how do I say it? Yeah, acceptance is one of the stages to basically see yourself changing, because there are a lot of people that don't accept the fact that they are hindering themselves, or what could be going on in their lives that could actually be hindering them. So it's a matter of knowing that you have something you need to overcome. And then every single day, or every time the opportunity presents itself, because it's not may not even be an everyday thing, you are in charge of what you can do to try to better yourself in that area. Everybody has something in their lives that they would like for to be better. There's nobody walking around to say my life is exactly perfect. And if they are, well, I need to meet them because I want to know, how do you manage that? And I think it's a thing of just embracing your flaws, embracing the hard days, embracing the things that you feel like you have no control over, because they're not meant to be controlled all the time. You're not by you. I think just realizing that we are not in control can release that fear from us. We are not in control of our situations. Things will happen that we have no control over, no power over, no say so in. They are bound to happen because they're meant to happen. We cannot change the things that have happened. We cannot change those things. And that's one thing that fear will impart. I cannot change the fact that I failed. I cannot change the fact that I'm embarrassed, that I'm ashamed, or should I say that I was in a situation that made me feel ashamed. That situation made me feel a certain type of way, but I can't change the situation. But I can change how I look at it, and I can assume the best and not the worst. And it's just a matter of just loving yourself, embracing yourself, and doing your best every single day, every time you have an opportunity, every time that thought comes to mind, every time that feeling comes to your heart, to push it away, to push those things aside, to push that negativity aside, to understand that, okay, I don't know what's going to happen if I do this. But the bottom line is, as long as I'm doing something that I think is a good thing, then whatever happens, happens. It's meant to happen. Now, if I'm doing something bad, then of course you should expect some consequences. But even if you're doing something good, expect good consequences. Don't expect the bad to happen. If you're trying to start a business, or you're trying to overcome something, or you're trying to push yourself through some fear, or whatever the case may be, expect good to come out of that, because you're trying to do something good. Don't expect the worst to happen. Don't allow that fear to stay in your mind. What if this happened? What if that happened? What if it doesn't? What if it doesn't? What if I fail? What if you don't? What if what if this happens, or what if that happens? What if none of that happens and everything happens that's good? What about that? And I think sometimes we get ourselves so caught up in the what could have or what will happen that we forget about what can happen. Because changing your mindset can be a hard thing to do too. Changing your mindset, your way of thinking, can be a hard thing. If you're used to being programmed a certain type of way, you have the ability to change that. And I'm struggling with that too, trying to change my way of thinking and my way of feeling, and trying to ignore my feelings. You have to ignore your feelings sometimes, because just like you got to ignore your thoughts, you got to ignore your feelings, because feelings are temporary. So you may be feeling like, oh man, this is going to be bad. But no, in your mind, you got to say, nope, no, it's not going to be bad. It's going to be good. It's going to be good for me. And we're going to leave it at that, right? Y'all, they fixed my glasses, but they are not right. I'm telling y'all, this is janky. I need to go get them fixed again, because I can't stand mess and crap. Um, but fear can torment you. Fear can keep you awake at night. Fear can keep you from relaxing and enjoying life. Fear will drive you into a panic. Fear will drive you into doing nothing when you could be doing something. But because you're afraid, you choose to do nothing, because that fear keeps you from actually being active in a certain area in your life. Fear will trap you and put you in a box, and you'll be wondering where the time has went, because you are now wasting time on fear, on what could be, when you need to be thinking about on what can be in a positive way. So just do your best every single day that you wake up to tell yourself today's going to be a good day and believe that it's going to be a good day. And then try to make it a good day by not responding to the negative things that take place. Every day is a good day, but bad things happen in that day that make you feel like that day is not a good day. But it's still a good day. It just depends on how you look at it. So I'm definitely looking forward to some internal changes within my life that I am striving to make every single day. There's some things I've been working on. I told you I got my LLC and I got my letter from the Register of Deeds, which they have approved my businesses that I'm doing and the names of those businesses. So I'm pretty excited about that. Um, yeah, I don't even understand how that makes me feel. I just realized that that was in the mail. So that was really great. And matter of fact, here is my letter. That's what I was looking for from the Register of Deeds in the state of North Carolina. So I'm really happy to get my Register of Deeds. Um, Let me see. Wanda says, I have experienced all those emotions. I can have a project due, and then once I submitted it, I start thinking the worst and fear sets in only to get positive feedback and if you can't find yourself, okay, so it's steps. If you can't find yourself hoping for the best right then, just say, okay, whatever happens happens. Leave it at that. Whatever happens happens. Whatever happens happens, instead of, oh my gosh, I'm gonna fail, they're gonna give me an F, this ain't good. Instead of thinking that way, just say whatever happens happens, right? Because I just stepped out on faith for a job opportunity, and I'm just like, Lord, whatever happens happens. I'm believing him that it's going to be for my good. I'm believing him for the best. But whatever happens is meant to happen. I'm just looking for God to do the best. So I just really, truly am learning to fight off negativity so much more because it's not needful and it's really a life wrecker. It will tear your life all to pieces. That's why you cannot be around negative people, especially if you're trying to change your mindset and trying to be positive. You cannot be around negative people that are still negative. You got to leave people where they are. You cannot be influenced by people that live a life of fear because that will influence you to still be afraid. You have to be around people that believe, people that have faith, people that have faith in you. And then you got to learn how to have faith in yourself and faith in God. So it's just a thing of just trying your best to think positive thoughts and to not allow those thoughts to bulldoze you. Like I be saying, and my thoughts be bulldozing me. They be beating my behind, and I just be surrendering because I feel tapped out. But it's no more. God be my helper. It's time out for that. It's time out for that fear. It's time out for me not believing in myself the way that I know that I'm an amazing person. So I want to get back out there in the workforce. And I want to be the woman that I know I can be on that job. And I don't want to listen to fear no more. I don't want to listen to fear. I don't want to listen to what they got to say because they ain't got nothing to say to me. Nothing good. So I don't want to hear it. So you got to start treating fear like a person. You got to start treating fear like a person. Think about fear being a person that you know you can't stand to be around because they always got something negative to say. They always got something in their hearts or their minds to ruin your mood. So you got to think about fear as a person. And every time fear starts talking to you, you got to talk back to it. But like, listen, I'm not talking to you today because you're getting on my nerves. Like, you always got something negative to say and I don't have time for you. Even if you gotta look yourself in the mirror because you're that person. Like, get out of here with that foolishness. I don't want to hear nothing you got to say. So you gotta look at fear as an enemy. You gotta look at fear as not as a comfort, but as an enemy. And until you look at fear as an enemy, because that's really what it is, a joy kill, you will never truly be able to go forward in life, to be honest. And let me see, don't tell me. See, this is my fault right here. But you really have to look at fear for what it is. It's an enemy and it's not there to help. It's there to hinder and there to stop and there to destroy and there to torment and there to cripple you because fear sees the greatness in you, but it's going to do its best to try to take it out, to not allow everybody else to see it, to not allow you to even see it. So fear is an enemy, y'all. Treat it as such. I guarantee you'll find yourself doing better. So I'm not going to hold y'all long today. I just figured I would say that. much. I hope that y'all got something out of this. For those that are watching the playback, thank you so much. For those that are watching the live, thank you so much. I appreciate y'all. I know people have been in and out, and I appreciate y'all as well. Um, have a great day. Have a great weekend. Enjoy your day. Think positive today. Fear is an enemy. Yeah, fear is an enemy. Treat it as such. All right. So, oh, may God be with you. Oh, may God be with you. Oh, may God be with you till we meet again. Oh, may God be with you. Oh, may God be with you. Oh, may God be with you till we